Now, I know for sure that you were part of the movement pushing for what was described as a sovereign national conference. Now, you found yourself on the presidential committee that has called for, or that is calling for a conference. I mean, at what point did the federal government begin to see eye to eye with the people calling for a sovereign national conference? Because evidently at some point it was as if, these two sides were diametrically opposed, you calling for a sovereign national conference and the people in government or holding the reins of government believing no. It wasn't necessary.
First of all, I joined the call for a sovereign national conference informally decades ago, but formally about a decade ago when I was part of Prodaco, and I joined in demanding a sovereign national conference, and I joined the leaders, Anthony Naro, Professor Wale Soyinka, and the others in putting together what we call the People's Conference. However, since then, I've become more educated. I've become more enlightened. I've realized that true, there is a sovereign government in place. The representatives that are elected are representatives of the people. So you can create a distortion if you start calling for a sovereign national conference at the beginning, from the beginning. But the point is this: governments joined in this process right from the start. You remember when we held, that's in Nigeria National Summit Group, held the Eminent People's Summit in February last year. We were supposed to have government attendees, even though they did not attend because that was during a strife-full period. Within about 4 months from then, the president put together what he called a civil society's retreat in Aso Villa, where nearly every member of civil society or leader of civil society, all arms of it, labor, education, and so on, were represented. And one thing came out of it. The National Assembly leaders were there, and security, arms, judiciary, and so on. The president and vice president were there. One thing became very clear. All of us, at least 95%, because we voted in a way that was very, very transparent, 95% or more of us were in support of a national conference, whether we would put the name sovereign or not. Then we of the Nigerian National Summit Group started pushing for a national conference, aware that the process of the conference itself can create sovereignty. For example, right now the National Assembly, the Senate, has already passed a position that they will put the outcomes of this conference, when it does hold, to the people in a national referendum. It has passed the Senate. And the Senate did that on its own, not prodded or goaded by anybody. Now that motion is, that bill is going to the House for harmonization. And I do believe from our meetings with them that this will take place. If it does take place, that is sovereignty being recognized as belonging and being reposed in the people. So we can say that maybe reluctantly, but we have come to learn every day. And since we have become more educated and enlightened, those minds are becoming more tolerant to opposing positions.
All right, fine. So, well, two diametrically opposed sides coming to a place of agreement, but then, of course, there are still some dissensions. Now, those are the areas we'll be taking a look at. For now, we'll take a break, and when we return, it is the journey of the Presidential Advisory Committee on National Dialogue, and my guest is Mr. Tony Uranta in just a moment.
Do you spend a lot on your line?
I spend a lot, actually. In fact, I spend about 10,000 naira monthly, to be honest.
The money they bring money now. If I don't spend at least 10 to 15,000 every month.
T-Salad has fantastic call quality and great internet speed. So I spend roughly 20,000 naira every month.
What do you get for spending a lot of money on your line?
Oh, they
I know they get anything at all. Hey!
First, they save me money. Every time I roam, I receive all my calls for free. And I got a new phone a few months ago. And then there's a... Am I the only one spending smart here? Well, why would you be with a network that doesn't appreciate you?
Introducing Etisalat Gem. Join the Etisalat network today and enjoy amazing rewards.
Etisalat, now you're talking.
Cleaners has a standard turnaround time of 24 hours on all garments. When I need it faster, they go faster. So, what does your dry cleaner offer you?
We bring the cleanest experience even closer to you as we open shop from 1st of November in Abuja at number 8 at Jessa Street off Aminu Kano Crescent, Abuja. Clean Ace, we offer more.
Welcome back. You're watching Politics Today live on Channels Television. And of course, at this time, we are discussing the activities, the challenges of the Presidential Advisory Committee on National Dialogue. And, well, I'm here with one of the members of the committee, Mr. Tony Uranta. Now, having come to a place of agreement that there should be a national dialogue, well, it does appear as if some of the loudest, some of the most strident voices in the call for a national dialogue are now doing an about-face, saying it is not necessary. And of course, those of us watching from the sideline would see some political coloration in this new standpoint. But for those who are calling, or rather who are objecting to a national dialogue, and by extension your committee, what then have been their own objection? What then have been the basis of their own objections?
Well, I've heard claims like this is not the best of times to have it. I've heard claims like President Jonathan must have a hidden agenda to have it.
Talking about this is not the time to have it. Nobody says it's going to happen tomorrow or next year or...
Well, that's partly what is surprising, because we've heard things like, why don't you advise, or why doesn't the president return to the findings or outcomes of past conferences? President Jonathan has put forth an advisory committee.
Past conferences, have we had any such a conference before?
No, we haven't. Not of this kind. But they refer to things like the political reform conference of President Obasanjo. If, as you were present at the Lagos hearings, a lot of emphasis in this case is being placed on developmental economics, the issues of bettering or making better the life of the common man through improving the economy. Now, that is not political reform. And so it is not exactly the same. But be that as it may, we are the advisory committee, and I can tell you as a member of the committee that even I don't know what we are going to advise the president yet, because we have not gone round the country fully consulting everybody. So it seems people are presuming things, and people are jumping the gun, and people are trying to think for us or think for the president. Even people who, like you rightly pointed out, have been fully supportive of this process up till the day the president announced that it would hold, and then suddenly turn around. Truly, it is politics. That was what came forth in the Edo hearings. The people were not in tandem with the government's position. And if you look at the turnout of people in the Lagos hearings, we had people from every facet of life, and they all wanted a national conference. In fact, I must say that even though Governor Fashola, rightly as a governor, advised us to advise the president to look into past conferences, he did not advise us not to tell the president not to hold the national conference. He's one gentleman I respect a lot, and his middle road approach is what I expect. Babangida Aliyu not only held sessions for us publicly, he held sessions for us privately. And he helped the people show which direction they needed to go. And the consensus is clear. This much I know at this point. The people of Nigeria, at least 4 zones out of 6 so far, have spoken loud and clear. They want a national conference.